everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. So it's Thursday night and I'm sorry I'm a little bit late tonight, about 25 minutes, because the Canadian junior hockey team was playing for gold and they won, but they went into overtime. So it was very scary and I just couldn't stop watching. So hopefully you'll be able to join me. Others will join me. Maybe you're still watching the finish up of the presentation of medals and things like that, but I thought I'd better jump on live. All right, so tonight it's technique, time for technique, and I'm going to do some partial die cutting. It's been a very long time since I've done this technique, but I thought it was kind of cool, and I'm using one of my favorite bundles. Yeah, yay, Betty, yes, gold. Woohoo. Favorite bundles from the annual catalog, actually favorite suites from the annual catalog. It is the Abigail Rose suite or the Cottage Rose bundle. So what I wanted when I was looking for a stamp set or for a stamp set and dies for this one, I was looking for an image that is fairly large that you can do this partial die cutting technique. So the big rose in the Cottage Rose, I think will work for this. But yeah, I hope it works tonight. I've never done this and it's been a very long time since I've done it. So we'll see how it goes. But I really love this technique. Hey, Mona, welcome. And yeah, Happy New Year to you too. And I'm not sure who's coming in from Facebook. I can see hello. So whoever it is coming in and saying hello, hello back. All right, I'm going to switch over and we'll give this a try. Now, I don't have a card to show you, but like I said, I'm using Cottage Rose and the dies that go along with Cottage Rose, and I'm going to use this big stamp here. These images are 95%. I'm sure you can do it, Betty. So this is actually a little bit bigger than what it shows in the picture. Now, with partial die cutting, what you do, this is the die. I'm going to do stamping first. So this is the die I'm using. What we're going to do is we're going to take, let me find mine. We're going to take and we're going to stamp first. And then what you do is you put your plate over top of, hey Nancy, over top of the part of the stamped image that you want to cut out. And so we're only going to have part of our front of our card cut out. And so I've got a piece of early espresso here, and I've cut this 5.5 by 7 because I want the front to be smaller so that my image, my cutout die cut. Oh yeah, I could have used the sunflower. You're right. That's another one where this is actually going to be the piece that I cut from. So this is going to, I'm going to have a layer of petal pink and then this layer of very vanilla. And so this die cut piece is actually going to jut out part way over and not be all on the front of the card. That's the goal with this. So we're going to see how it goes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my stamp out, my block. Let's see what, I'll probably need another stamp for the inside of the card. And let's see, well, I'll decide on a sentiment afterwards. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp in early espresso. I am going to do some coloring with my blends. And I know I always say when you're using blends, you use Tuxedo Black Memento because it won't, doesn't bleed or doesn't cause it to bleed. I find that if you're a little cautious with it and not go crazy with the alcohol markers, you can get away with the just a regular, hey Marjorie, regular ink pad. But I don't do a lot of coloring. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to position this kind of in the middle of mine, remembering that part of this is going to be cut off. Or not cut off. Yeah, part of it's going to be cut out. Okay, so there's my stamped image. I'll close this up for now. Now, what I want to do is I want to decide how much of this. So if I put this on my piece of cardstock, kind of get it into the position of where it will go, you can see that the edge of my, maybe you can't see, let's do it this way. Now you can see that the edge of my card base is here. So I've got about an inch that's going to stick out over top. So that's the piece that you want to put your plate over top of, because we want to cut around this. We don't want to cut around this. So if I bring my die back in and position it, now I am going to use some Post-it note tape just to hold it in place. So it's on this part that I'm not going to cut out, because this is going to be part of my front of my card. But I want it to cut about, probably that's about 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. So I'm just going to position my plate over top of that. Now, let me get my other plates here. Oh, as I realize I've put my small plate, because I was thinking I was going to be able to use my mini, but I'm not, because I need it to be, my card piece is bigger than 3 inches. So the mini only is 3 inches wide, or just about. Okay. So we're going to position this like this. And now if I take and put again, I'm just going to take, and I can trim this if I need to be. So I've got my plate. So this is what's going to get cut, is where my plate is. And this will not get cut. She says, fingers crossed. Let's bring the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine in. Okay. All right. So that's positioned on. My plate is about 1 inch. Oopsie, things are shifting here. Still struggling with this arm. Okay, so that's what I want to cut. So this is going to roll through. So there's no pressure on that die. I'm trying to hold this in place. Maybe it will go that way better. Okay. I'm pushing this in. Ugh. Things are shifting here on me because I can't grab it with this other arm. So I'm going to push this in and push it until it goes up against that plate. There we go. Take this out. Okay, so when we take this off, so because there was no pressure on this die on this left-hand side, it didn't cut. But you can see I've cut around the edge of this side of the flower. Now, I'm going to bring in my trimmer. You can do this with paper snips as well, but I'm going to just position my trimmer so that where the die cut ended is roughly in the track. And I'm just going to take it up. I'm going to not go all the way, because I can always just kind of take that and finish cutting it with my paper snips. And again, from the top. Oops, I can go a little bit farther than that. Okay, there we go. So I'm just cutting off this excess. So now I'm just going to take my paper snips and just snip in. My husband wrapped my arm just a little while ago, and when he wraps it, it just is tight to start as. There we go. Okay, so I've got that one cut, and now I'm just going to take and just finish off this one. Like that. So that piece is now, I think, yeah, I'm going to trim this a little bit because I I've got it just a little bit wider than I want. Wasn't sure how. So I'm just going to trim about 1/8 of an inch off of this. I think that'll make it look a little bit better. There we go. So now this piece will go on here, and you can see that it sticks out over the edge of my card. So we'll decorate on the inside of the card. But for now, I'm going to do a little bit of coloring. So I grabbed crumb cake and petal pink. So I'm going to just take, I'm not going to color this whole flower. I'm just going to take and kind of color where there are lines. You can see there are little tiny kind of lines on each of the petals. And I'm just kind of go in and just kind of color in on those just to give it a little bit of detail. Just nice to have a little bit of color. And then I'm going to use the darker one in the middle. And then the same on the, I'm going to use the light crumb cake on the leaves. And I'm just going to kind of go up and down where the veining is. Just, as I said, I'm not doing the whole thing, and I'm not really being exact about it. Like that. There we go. Okay. Now the next thing we need to do, is that the dark? Nope, that one, light. And the next thing we need to do is figure out what sentiment we're going to put on here. So I'm going to stamp it in early espresso. So I want a sentiment that will fit on the bottom. Friends Forever, I think, is too big. So let's do Best Wishes. Actually, I know which one I'm going to do. I'm going to do this one. I know what I'm going to do with this card. So we'll do a Feel Better real soon. Yeah, so find a stamp. And Betty, if you want to try the sunflower, I think it would look really cool. Or I just want to see how straight this is going to be. Okay. Always test your sentiments on your grid paper to see, especially when they're the rubber. Oh, now I've forgotten how I have to turn this. Okay, very good. Very good. Always test them on your grid paper so you can see how straight it would be. Yeah, I know. Isn't this the Best Wishes is really pretty? Okay, so now there's my card base, and there is my piece of petal pink. So this petal pink, what did I cut this? I cut the petal pink 2.5 by 5 1/4. And then I actually, the very vanilla that I started with was 3 3/4 by 5. And then I did, like I said, I did trim it a little bit. So this will go on the front like that. And then this will go, and I remember you only want to, don't put any glue on the die cut piece because you don't want glue behind it. This is going to stick out. There we go. Let's get this even. There we go. Like that. Right. See how cool that is? I just love this technique. You know, it's fun when you haven't used techniques for a while and you decide you're going to kind of resurrect an oldie but a goodie. Now, I cut 2 pieces of the designer series paper that I absolutely love. This paper is just so pretty. Now, this is 1 inch. Both of these are 1 inch. This one's a little longer than it needs to be, and I'll trim that off. So I'm just going to kind of overlap them. But I just want to add some detail here on the right-hand side of my of my card base where I have it, you'll see it. And I've got glue, so I don't want to get that on my grid paper, if we can try. And so I'm just going to align this with the edge, top, bottom, and the right edge of this piece of cardstock, like that. And then I'm going to trim off the bottom, like that. And then I've got a piece of, now this is my absolute favorite, with the tulips that you can color. But the other side of that is this really pretty petal pink stripe. So I'm just going to use that, and I'm going to overlap it just slightly. Again, lined up with the top and fairly straight. There we go. And we will trim that piece off as well. Okay, and then this piece, probably what I should have done is figured out what I was going to stamp on it. Don't put it on the wrong side. That would be not what I want the designer series paper to be seen. There we go. Okay, there. Isn't that pretty? Just really pretty. I probably could have put that over a little bit. That's okay. All right, so what else was I going to put on my card? Let's use a bone folder because I didn't use that before I started. I got myself all excited with that hockey game. I'm kind of a little kerfuffled. All right. Okay. I pulled out some of these are the champagne rhinestones, and they just are so pretty, and they go so nicely with petal pink. So let's grab my take your pick tool. And we will just put 3. They are 3 different sizes. So we'll just take and put them on there. I could have put some ribbon, I guess, on here, but it's okay. I think this card is just pretty as it is. I was going to put a flower, but I think the flower that I pulled out is too big. So let's see. It's not going to leave much room. Maybe we'll do the stems here on the inside of the card. I love that image of those leaves. I love this whole cottage rose suite. All right, so there's a technique, partial die cutting. So give it a try. And it's bothering me that this is not laying flat, so we're gonna just go a little harder with the bone folder. There we go. Okay. So give it a try and share your cards. Betty, if you do the one with the sunflower, I'd love to see it because I think that would look really pretty. But partial die cutting is a really fun technique. And I could have even done more of that if I'd wanted to, but just really fun. All right, so as everybody, today is the first day of the new mini catalog and celebration. It's so exciting when that happens. So I don't know if people have put orders in, but yeah, hopefully we'll start to see some of your projects with those new goodies that you're getting. So I will be back live on Saturday. Now I'm going to be a little later than normal. There's no hockey game, but I have a team meeting. So I will be live about 1 o'clock on Saturday. Normally it's 11 a.m. So Saturday will be about 1 o'clock. And then Sunday I'll be live at my regular time of 12 noon. So hopefully you can join me on one or both of those days. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. Happy stamping. Bye.